Up right now, our very own Detroit Bureau Chief, Alan Adler, fresh off, back in Michigan now from Austin, Texas. He had a great trip down there to see Hyliion. Alan, welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. Nice to see you, Kevin. Getting your FaceTime. This is important for you. We need the Kevin time. This is excellent. I love it. Listen, guys, before we talk about Hyliion, which I know we want to do, we've got to talk about some breaking news this morning. Very big deal, very unexpected deal. Cummins, Inc. paying $3.7 billion to buy Meritor. This is huge, and it's huge on a number of fronts. First of all, it comes out of the blue because last week Cummins purchased Jacob's brake business, the Jake brake, as we wrote about, and that was a mere $300 million. Now, in going for Meritor, they're picking up electronic axles and basically getting closer and closer to being able to do from a chassis to an engine of an electric vehicle and on their own with their own components group. So this is a very big deal. Just developing now. We'll have a call with the principals around 9:30. So not much more for the moment, but it's a cash deal. Meritor stock is zooming. It's up over 40% pre-market this morning because it's like I said, it's a huge deal in the industry to see one of these. I mean, just by way of comparison. It took 2.5 years or longer for Traton to spend the same amount of money to buy Navistar. So that's the scope of the kind of deal you're talking about. If you go back a few more years and you look at when Borg Warner purchased Delphi for $3.3 billion, that took a couple of years. This was done in a matter of months, and can't find out yet just who talked to who and how the dance began. But this is a big one. Really is.
Wow.
So, let's talk about yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, good morning, Alan. I'm glad we called you up this morning. We almost didn't dial the phone. Kevin didn't want to call you. I said, no, he's usually.
Kevin, I know you don't want to talk to me, but anyway.
So seriously, now explain again. What is the significance of this move? What's the strategy behind this?
Okay, pretty much everything. We've been writing a lot about Cummins, so if you're on FreightWaves.com, you can see it. We wrote last week about their automated transmission joint venture. We wrote about, of course, the Jake brake acquisition, which really, started, with Clessie Cummins. I mean, he invented it, and then Jacobs picked it up from there. But so Cummins is just on the move. There's no question about it. I mean, they are basically your biggest diesel engine maker, but it's best to not think of them that way right now. I mean, we talked with Tom Linebarger, the CEO, back in December, and just talked about the transformation of the company really to New Power. That's a division within the company now. They're into hydrogen. They're into fuel cells. They are into natural gas, full natural gas engines, pretty much everything that will get you closer to zero emissions trucking. And so now with the Meritor acquisition, Meritor is big in brakes and they're big in axles. And it's a 14XE is the product name of their electronic axle, which is really becoming, I don't like the word ubiquitous. I love the word, but I can't use it all the time. It's going everywhere. I mean, it is in a lot of products, and it's in fact, when we were at Hyliion, which we'll get to hopefully in a few minutes here, when we were at Hyliion, they're using the 14XE axle, and I'm going to go out on a limb here about Hyliion before we were talking about them. Just say that there's another company I could see Cummins just gobbling up. That is Hyliion, simply because their Meritor's former chairman. And CEO Jay Craig just joined the board at Hyliion. My thought is that, there's so much overlap now in terms of what Cummins is doing. They could either, perhaps purchase Hyliion and absorb it, or maybe just starve it. I mean, this is harsh stuff to say, but I see these things coming and I see these moves that are being made in the industry. And, there's a limited value, obviously, to some of the things that Hyliion does. But there's also this, this electric natural gas powertrain that they have. If it's unique enough, it's something that I could see, a Cummins being interested in. If it's not, I could see them just, doing things that would basically make it really hard for Hyliion to function and to be more than a niche player. Headline on this morning's story out of Austin or Cedar Park, Texas, actually, asked the question, will Hyliion make it to the finish line? And I think so, but you know what? It's going to be interesting to see how they do it.
So we're talking to Alan Adler, our Detroit bureau chief, right now on, first of all, the breaking news of Cummins. You said the target company, their premium or their stock was up 40%. What was the premium attached to that? And
48%, I believe. I only read the press release quickly before I came on, but I think the premium to Meritor's closing price on the 18th of February, the last trading day, I believe it's a 48% premium. And so obviously, there's plenty of catch up being done in the market to that today. I mean, you're just, kind of rising to what that premium is. So, the stock is not going to stay where it was. Cummins was down a little bit pre-market, but that's really not a big deal. I wouldn't worry much about that. I mean, Cummins is a great operator, and the way they do their business and what they've been doing is, it's quite honestly, it's impressive. I mean, the acquisitions they make and the way they plug things into their existing operations. This will be a big one to take on. Meritor has about 9,600 employees around the world, so this will be a big absorption job, quite honestly.
Yeah, no, there's nothing to worry about the Cummins stock. So that's just M&A arbitrage right there, where the acquiring company always drops in the market, almost no matter what. So the target goes up. The acquirer goes down a little bit. Let's dive into Hyliion. You just got back from Austin, Texas. What's your sense and your feeling of Hyliion being ready or almost ready, maybe, to be acquired?
Well, I mean, I just threw that out there. I didn't really even ask Thomas Healy. We've known Thomas for a long time. He's kind of a friend of FreightWaves. Dooner loves the guy and brings him on. We've had him in various summits and things like that. At 29, he is one of the sharpest cats I've run into. He's also one of the nicest people I've run into. Just a real kind demeanor. I would say, whether they're to be acquired or whether they're actually going to make it on their own, we're going to know more tomorrow. You're going to see their end of year financials. This will be the first time that they have done any revenue recognition. They're pre-revenue company today. Tomorrow they'll show something. Thomas did tell me it wouldn't be significant revenue, but they will book some from their first product, which is an ERX. It's basically an electric boost that they sell as a hybrid that you can attach to a diesel or electric truck for additional boost. But that product, because Cummins, here we go again, because Cummins is coming with a 15-liter natural gas engine in a couple of years, that product plus all of the pure battery electric trucks that are out there really is bringing the viability of this product into question. Really, I mean, the thing that Hyliion is counting on and that they're pushing farther with and talking about and bringing people like me down to see is this Hypertruck ERX. What this is basically a range extended truck. It's got 4 battery packs on it. Again, not quite the same kind of battery power of an electric truck because it has a generator under the hood that is basically using natural gas to power the system. And so the e-axles at the back where Thomas is pointing right now, those are back there. Those are Meritor axles. So here we go again, making one happy family here. Driving the truck, quite honestly, was easy. I've been in a few electric trucks, and I can tell you that this one is good. I mean, the straight line giddy up that you get off a truck like this is noticeable. I'm obviously just in the parking lot because I don't have a CDL, but we did go up on the highway at 183. What's that?
You look like a natural.
Well, thank you. I need a CDL. I got to get one of those. But here you see the truck on the highway. That's not us in it. This is B-roll from them. But I can tell you that, as an electric truck, it runs just as good or better than any I've been in. And again, it's going to get you 75 miles of pure electric power. And then the rest of the time, you're going to be running on natural gas, preferably for them anyway, and most customers, renewable natural gas, which again has sort of a potentially a net negative zero emissions profile. So they've got a pretty good mousetrap there. It's just going to be interesting to see if their company is going to be able to make it on its own as we see so much moving towards pure electric. I mean, can these guys really, convince you to buy this truck for long haul, because they can go 1,000 miles, not all on electric, but they can go 1,000 miles between fill-ups with natural gas. But is the 75% credit, for zero emissions, which you could potentially get? They don't have it secured yet. But if you had 75%, is that as good as getting 100% credit from California or the other states that are adopting the advanced clean truck rule? So these things are all, remain to be seen. It's interesting, though, that Hyliion has more than doubled its employment in the last year, and they're bursting at the seams down there in Cedar Park. They have about 120,000 square feet. They've got, battery pack making lab there. They've got 10 bays for equipping trucks, both with the ERX hybrid electric boost, as well as to build out Peterbilts that they're using for the ERX right now. Long-term goal for them, guys, is to get the ERX system, which is really a powertrain system, into manufacturers' assembly. They want them to assemble it. They'll start out with a couple of contract assembly houses, FEV here in Michigan, and then one in Texas. So, the steps are interesting. I mean, it's going to be very fascinating tomorrow. I mean, Hyliion had $600 million in the bank at the end of the third quarter. We'll find out tomorrow how much they still have, what kind of burn rate they're going through, and that'll tell you a lot about what's up with the company.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see that. Hey, excellent stuff, Alan. It sounds like you're a fan of their system. We'll wait and see what happens.
Well, we enjoyed it, and we enjoyed getting to be first. I mean, that's always good for FreightWaves, right? To be the first one to come down. And so it was great. I mean, we were able, a lot of Twitter talk in this story today, because, Thomas has decided that, not so unlike a certain other executive, who'll go nameless, that Twitter is a pretty good place to tell their story. The problem for these guys is because they haven't had any sales or revenue recognition yet, and they don't talk a lot about their orders. They've announced a couple, but they haven't really said, here's where we're at. A lot of their detractors on Twitter, people that have lost a lot of money. I mean, this is a starting today at under $4 a share, right? And this was a $58 stock back in October of 2020. So you had a lot of people who've been burned on this stock, and quite honestly, they're not very happy. So a lot of snarky comments. And Thomas said, "Yeah, I really had to develop a thick skin about that, but we really think that people do want to hear our story, and so we're going to keep telling it."
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Alan. You can check out Alan's stuff on FreightWaves.com. Always interesting, always informative. Right now, Mr. Hill, I think we're going to toss